much like St. Vincent, Ponybird is a musician and performer that stands out in the crowded array of current streaming options. St. Vincent is the moniker for Annie Clark, and Ponybird is the stage name for Jenn Dauphinais. Each of these artists dare to color outside the lines of musical scale, bringing us something different. If you play the catalog of songs by Ponybird, her evolution is evident. She taps into different genres the way Van Gogh dabbed his brush in different hues. And listening to her music is like watching a fluttering feathered friend briefly perching on a limb and moving on to the next. If you aim your binoculars on just one branch or limit yourself to a certain style of music, you'll only catch a glimpse of natural beauty. Ladies and gentlemen, Jenn Dauphinais. Hello, Jenn. How are you?
I'm great. That was the best intro I've ever had. And also, ladies and Jennifer's is kind of cool. I think I'm going to start saying that to people from now on.
I am so scatterbrained. I don't know how I do this. But yeah, here we are. It is something different, no doubt. Welcome.
Thank you.
It seems like, so I think it was earlier this year in January or so, we talked for a little bit virtually. And I was really happy to learn about you and your music. And then you also put me in touch with a lot of other cool artists as well. You're like one of those people that you probably know, like the whole community or most of the community of Southern Connecticut, right?
I try to.
That's cool.
Or of Connecticut. That's as important to me as playing my own stuff, is the community part of music. And I think a lot of musicians miss that. There are some who have that goal to be a community builder as well, because I was just saying this the other day to Brian Ember, and the idea that when it's your turn to fly, like it's your turn to go out and play, there's nothing better than having a really great audience there to support you. And some of the ways to build audience is to be an audience member as well. People will definitely come if they know you come out for them. So I try to make as many shows as I can outside of my own when I can, and then, or at least, repost and mention it on my social media that others are playing, and try to support or reach out, buy albums when people put them out. So to me, that's like the whole package to just a little bit of what I do is in terms of songwriting and playing, is that I would consider myself like a community member, an active community member here in Connecticut.
And I think that you need that aspect in order to really survive and thrive as a musician as well. You can't just go out there and just play songs. You need more. You need to network and get the community involved, do a lot of social posting, right?
Sadly, yes. I've learned just to make it another mode of communication and like bend it as an art form. I know a lot of people don't. They're like, I can't do Instagram. And I'm like, just pretend it's a video game. It'll be fun.
It seems like a lot of people are playing video games these days.
Yeah, right. So I agree with you, though. It's hard. It's hard to do all of those roles under sort of the one umbrella of being an independent musician without, like you're your own publicist, you're your own producer, you're your own coach on the days you don't want to go, right? Who's going to say, like, get up and try a little harder, right? And I like to do that for others, too, and they do it for me. So it's good. We have a really good scene here. Like, all across Connecticut, we have really great scene.
Absolutely. And one of your friends that you've worked with is Christina Abbott. Why do I keep saying Jennifer today?
Because it's Jennifer Day.
It's Jennifer Day. Christina Abbott. And I noticed that you played together at the Daffodil Festival, right?
Yes, and we just played Lark Hall in Albany last weekend.
Oh, wow. So it's like an exchange program.
That's what
she comes down here and you go up there?
Yes, that was actually the plan. So speaking of promoting and community building, we kind of hatched the plan because she's in the Volusia Kinderhook area near Albany of upstate New York, and I'm in New Haven. So back in the day, she was really like on the Black Rock scene and in New York City, and had a kind of a early career spike, and then I can't remember if it was Universal, Capitol, or Sony, but someone significant had approached her about a label, and then with that came losing weight, changing your sound, letting other people produce your songs, and she walked. So this is someone who I admire so much.
I have even more respect for her now.
Right. And did the family thing and did, invested in, and the scene in a lot of ways have the sort of the subtext also to that is the hashtag Me Too movement. For a lot of us women who've been doing this since we were kids, we've kind of seen it all. And we're pretty polite about not, airing our dirty laundry, but there's a lot of stories among us over the years with the courage to say, like, I'm not going to put up with that anymore. So
Good.
doing things like what I did with Deep Meats, which is to finally take ownership of production myself, and doing things like Christina and I combining forces and saying, I'll get a show in Connecticut when I get some of the bigger, meatier shows that have a good amount of money that I could offer you to play with me, come down, and vice versa in upstate. So Lark Hall was outstanding. The place is beautiful. It's a beautiful venue. I highly recommend like trying to see a show there or just looking on their website to see what else they're doing. It's a renovated theater space. And then Daffodil Fest is like the coolest. So she'll be returning here with me for Haddam Neck Fair in September.
Ooh.
So we're gonna continue on with our sort of toggling show, but
Cool.
That's folk songwriter stuff. The secret news is she's also going to join me for We Are Bison. And that is a synthesizer based project. So that this is an anti-guitar project, so to speak. And so we both write that way as well. She had a project for a pretty long time, Heart Beats All, and they dissipated. And similarly, Bison dissipated, and both of us were working with male partners at the time, and you can fill in sort of the stressors there. There's a lot of entitlement with men in the industry and the expectations of what women's labor should be on the front end of a band. And so in that, we decided to revitalize Bison because I founded the project, and I love that project. I love everything about how it sounded. I love everything that my partner at the time contributed. He's actually irreplaceable. And sadly, because of, his choice to cease communication with me, I have to move forward with the project because I really believe in the project.
Good.
So Christina's going to be with me on that one. And we've been writing, and it's like the opposite of what you're hearing us doing at Lark Hall. It's like, is that a voice? Is that synthesized, like, bells? Like, what is going on? So it's a great creative opportunity for the two of us to write very differently and to bring other players in with us to experiment.
That's awesome. I'm
excited
looking
about
forward to
that.
that.
Yeah.
Now, and Christina also did something electronic on the side with somebody else too, right?
Well, there's a word, but I can't say it on the air. But one of the band name, it had the B word in it. One of her really good.
Oh, right. Yes.
Hot B.
Yes.
Arsenal.
Yes, I like that.
They were really good.
Female dog.
Exactly.
Yes.
I didn't want to blow up your show.
Yeah, this is a family-friendly show, but that's okay.
Hot B Arsenal.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. You know what? Let's play one of your songs.
Sweet.
And let everybody have a taste now that they've got to hear you talk for a moment and introduce yourself.
I
And
think we're going to play Heartbreak Sounds, which was the
Heartbreak
first
Sounds.
single. I released a single March 25th of this year. This is the first single off of Deep Meats 1, which is the first Ponybird album since 2014 and my follow-up to the We Are Bison EP last year.
.1 WECS, something different. Hello. That was Heartbeat Sounds.
Heartbreak Sounds.
Heartbreak Sounds. Can you tell me a little bit about that song?
Sure. So it's funny because it's actually heartbreak and then sounds the verb, where instead of like heartbreak sounds like the heartbreak sounds that the violin plays, it's like I know what the heartbreak sounds like in your heart. So it has to do with like getting really close to someone and kind of knowing how they work on the inside. So you'll hear like the toy chime, like music box sounds throughout, and it's like somebody's inner workings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I know what the heartbreak sounds like in your heart. I know what disappoints you. I know like kind of what haunts you at night. And I know, and then if you hear like the initial lyrics are like, you used to feel important, right? But then there was an old rite of passage that you just couldn't start. I know what the heartbreak sounds like in your heart. It's like when someone can't quite get out of their own way. And then that can get tiring in a relationship. So there's also this sort of choral, like, I know like we're in the washing machine, like, here we go again. Like this person's fighting their inner demons, and I'm just out here waiting to make a record, you know.
Wow, it all makes sense.
Or waiting
now.
for, change. So that I hope that it feels the way that it was meant to feel, which was sort of like it's a drag, like you're stuck inside of a mechanism that's not turning over all the way. It's sort of stuck on a loop.
And it's important to get out of that.
You got to get out of there.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
Run.
Was that just released in March?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how can people get to get your music?
So Heartbreak Sounds is out, and then the rest of this EP, there's 5 more songs coming out, it's 6 altogether. That is with the rest of my collection with my acoustic, and well, I have like you said at the beginning, a range kind of. But I do think people expect to sort of hear either kind of a band like Crazy Horse, Neil Young, or they might expect to hear a folk Americana vibe when I'm playing. This one kind of deviates from that. It's all digital instruments. I think there's one real guitar on the last track, but I really cinematically composed everything like a band. So if you go to, I think not SoundCloud, Spotify, Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, all of the major distro sites, Apple Music, everything like that, Ponybird, all one word, you'll find it. Bandcamp, that's where you can actually pay me for my music, because the others, if you stream them, I get a few pennies. But if you want to buy my stuff, Bandcamp or CD Baby are the way to go. I think on CD Baby you can still order some vinyl from Modest Quarters from 2014 that I did at Dirt Floor. I have a lot of records left from that, from that when we were so everyone was so gung-ho about vinyl, and now I have a storage unit with all this vinyl.
Were those pressed locally, or did you have to send them out?
New York. Yeah, it was quite a few years ago. If I ever do vinyl again, I would do eco vinyl, because I've been reading a lot about how vinyl actually is not great for the environment. So there's all these new companies popping up, these green vinyl companies, and you can get smaller batches, and they use repurposed materials and less waste and oil.
Oh, good.
There's a lot of petroleum, I guess.
And I think there was a shortage for a while in getting vinyl too, right?
Yep. So I'm recommending to everyone to Google green vinyl.
Green vinyl.
Find out. Some labels will do it too. They'll only print their bands on green.
Cool.
Eco-conscious vinyl.
And don't forget, before you do that, before you get green vinyl, make sure you go to Ponybird on Bandcamp. And you have, your website is what, Ponybird Music? Or?
Ponybird Music, all one word.com. And the links are there too. You could also find me on Instagram at Ponybird Music, all one word. And there's links to all of these music stuffs.
That's the cool thing about it. You just remember one and you'll find the rest very easily. I noticed a common theme in your music is about never giving up. Consciously influencing your own writing as a reminder to yourself, or to inspire others because you experience the benefits and want others to excel as well?
I think it's both. It's so funny because you said that, and the other night I was playing a show and I kept going, this song's about never giving up, and then I played the next song, I'm like, and this song's about never giving up, and I'm like, dang it. I'm really sorry, everyone. I hope you like songs about never giving up.
That's awesome,
But
though. I mean,
I guess I need
the contrast, doing a bunch of depressing songs about giving up.
Yeah, well, there's heartbreak songs, which is about why did you give up.
Or you should have given up
just
sooner.
Gonna take a quick. This will be the pivotal point. Deep Meats 1 is gonna be like, oh wait, she's not talking about never giving up anymore. She's mad.
Good. Let's hear some more music because we're running short on time. And
Sure.
in just about a half an hour, you're going to hear the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. And this week, it's featuring local musicians from the Western New England area. And I should mention that Jenn Dauphinais is on the Essential Western New England Songbook for I Am With You. I love that song.
It's like the first song I ever wrote or recorded.
Oh, man. It was just perfect. And it's now memorialized. And so the New Music Alliance radio hour. I was not on it this week, so I don't know what the music is. I don't know who was the host, but I'm sure you're going to love it. So tune. Oh, you know what? I do remember now. They were visiting a record studio, a recording studio up in Northampton that used to be in Bloomfield, Connecticut. So to get the exact name of the studio and all the details, listen at 4 o'clock right here on 90.1 WECS.
I think we're going to play Slow Nelson.
Slow Nelson.
Second track on the album. I've given some secret leaks to people, and this seems to be a favorite, so I thought I'd share it with you guys, see if you like it.
Awesome. Slow Nelson test.
And then I'll tell you what it means after.
Oh.
I'll tell you what.
Stand by. You're going to find out.
You're going to find out.
This is awesome. .1 WECS, something different. That was Jenn Dauphinais with Slow Nelson.
And that's that one hasn't been played anywhere yet, so you kind of got like an exclusive. It's the second track on the album, so
awesome. You heard it here first, ladies and
you
gentlemen.
heard it here first. Just finished mastering it at Sans Serif with Sam
Oh,
Carlson,
cool.
so he helped me with a lot of the post production.
Sam Carlson, is he in band too?
Yeah, he's in the Tines.
Oh,
We love Sam.
I love
Sam's
I love the
best. They
Times.
just played State House last night. He's an amazing talent on all levels, like as a writer and as an engineer and studio person. He's just phenomenal.
Oh, cool.
So I did all these myself, produced them, played on them, wrote them, and then brought all the final mixes to Sam once I was like tearing my hair out and was at a point where maybe my skill set had ceilinged out. And he's so quick about just like getting there, cleaning stuff up, making it sound
That's
how it
cool. I mean,
should,
that's a lot to put on yourself too.
yeah.
To do all the work.
It is when I think for me, and that's why this album's a little spicy. And you had mentioned like, oh, it's all about not giving up. And I'm like, in this album, you're gonna hear a lot of like S talk, donkey talking, because
Yeehaw.
I think as a woman, I've heard a lot about, well, you didn't do it all yourself, and so and so did this, and the producer did that, and your husband carried the guitar and put it on you, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, we're done,
Bye bye.
we're done.
Yeah.
So in this case, I pushed myself to do all of it, and now I'm kind of like, who was that for, me or some other idiot? And the next album, I'm like, everybody's coming back. I have a super group formed
Ooh.
for the release party.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I'm hoping like I'll do majority of the production on the new record for Deep Meats 2, but I'll also have more players.
Cool.
So I'm like ready to bring people back into the room, but I needed a minute.
So it sounds a bit courageous then. You're doing it all on your own.
It could be, yes. It could be with limited resources and skills. And it could also be when you're the songwriter, because emotional material can be really hard to grapple with and hear correctly when it's yours, right? Like doing it all the way through, it does help. Like sitting with Sam and saying, Sam, I tried to make this feeling occur with the technology here. Did I do that? I know what I want to feel, but how do I execute how it sounds? And I have to sit there and watch like 25 YouTube tutorials and like pick through engineering books and guess and hope, where someone like Sam who went to school opens the computer and does it in 10 seconds. You're like, damn it.
So
that's his toolkit.
That's a good reason to like, go to somebody and get their
Right.
advice. Yeah.
Right. So.
It's I should have said this earlier, but it's nice to see you in person.
Yeah.
I don't think we even had our cameras on when we spoke last, but and most of the self-images that I see of you on social media seem to be either filtered or enhanced or kind of mysterious.
Surreal, abstract.
Yeah. Is that a conscious effort to create some sort of mystery about you to get
Yes.
your followers to be more interested?
Yeah, I mean, the visual stuff for me is as much too a part of the sound stuff. So, I I would consider myself also a visual artist, and a lot of what I do would be digital, social media. Like we were talking about social media and people being afraid of it, and I'm like, I love it because it gives me certain parameters and restrictions to play with visuals and audio and like comedy. I have a comedy channel that you don't know about.
Is there anything you don't do?
I hate cooking. I know how to do it, but I don't want to. I don't like math.
It's not
Things
the same.
I won't do.
It's not the same when you're cooking for yourself.
It's hard
right?
for me to have a dog. I don't want to do it.
I don't want a dog either.
So yeah, there's plenty. There's plenty of stuff I don't do. But yeah, so the weird face stuff. I think when we had the song on, I was talking about David Bowie. And now David Bowie's always changing his image as an artist, and like the spaces that he moved through while he was writing had concepts and fluidity, and so I try to follow that feeling and those sort of tenets of creativity to achieve what I've been doing lately with all the visual work that corresponds with the new music.
Gotcha. Are we playing another song from the new album?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're gonna play Better Way.
Better Way.
Which was like a toss up with being the next single with Heartbreak Sounds. I wasn't sure which one I was gonna put out first. This is the most, I would say that this song, Better Way, is the most like bison-y of all my songs. It would have been a Bison song on the next record. I actually thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very bombastic, very cinematic. The drums are really heavy, and but like Ponybird, about that theme of never giving up.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, here. Why do I keep saying ladies and gentlemen?
Ladies and Jennifers.
Everybody. Ladies and Jennifers.
And bison birds.
Better Way by Ponybird. Jen, there's so many questions I want to ask you. No, it's just we're running out of time. But I know we're featuring songs that off your new album, which coming out July 1st. Deep Meat.
Deep Meat's one, which
Deep
infers endless follow-ups. But I think I'm only gonna do 2. It's just gonna be Deep Meat's 1 and 2, and then maybe in like 10 years, if I get fired up, I might be like, guess what? Return to the Meats.
It's like a John Spencer Blues Explosion had an album, Meat and Bone or something. No, oh, never mind.
You never know when I can throw that title back into the mix, you know?
Grind it up.
Grind it up, chop it up. I just did something on Instagram today where I asked people to name their personal Deep Meats album. Like, the answers are wonderful. I have like 25 answers on my phone right now. People are working some stuff out there.
Awesome.
And I'm going to post them later on my page. But everyone's like, Deep Meats 1, watch out. I told you not to mess with me.
Are your followers really engaged?
Yeah, they're funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good group of weird people like me.
I just wanted to like touch back on your earlier work, and as I mentioned earlier, I saw a progression, or just you changing things up from your earlier work to now. It seems like you're trying different styles of music and feeling yourself out. And would you agree, or are you?
Definitely, and I think that's been a harder kind of like transition to make, because I was worried if people are expecting to hear Ponybird the way that they've enjoyed it, right? Probably all the way up to 2014. Like 2007 was the first album, 2014 was the last. There's an expectation, right? What it should sound like. And also there's a market for singer-songwriter females right now. Like, people want to hear a lady with a guitar sing songs, mostly covers, some originals, and like that's where you're going to make your money. And I was like, what do I do if I want to make music that sounds like Earth Eater and Yves Tumor and HTRK and Circuits de Yao? Like, then what do I do? Do I lose the Ponybird sort of like momentum and quote unquote brand and start something else? And Bison was actually the first attempt at that, and because that ended up dead in the water, which was totally to my dismay, like the momentum for me to have a different outlet to write in got cut short until I decided we were going to continue with Bison recently. So I put that in the Ponybird bucket. I'm like, I'm just going to write a psych pop album, an electronic psych pop album, and call it Ponybird, and people are gonna have to deal.
Yeah.
And it's cool because a few of the people in the supergroup are returning members from the prior, and then some are just brand new who've never played with me before, which is gonna be great.
Cool.
Yeah. So I think Ponybird's gonna be a blend, but Bison will still have its synthesizer obsessive dark wave goth feel that we were hoping for.
Ooh, that sounds...
when I made that transition, because as you had asked me prior to us coming on the show about punk rock, I grew up listening to British punk. I grew up listening to new wave. I grew up going to those shows with my father. Like, you can't live in my dad's house and not go to Killing Joke and be schooled on right Joy Division and have to wear, black lipstick at least for some period of time in that environment. So I was saturated by that stuff, and I never had a place to play it. So it's a real nod to my childhood, and it's a real nod to some vintage stuff, but then some really great new art pop that's happening out there in the world that is continuing on with that legacy, and I want to be in it.
Your dad sounds really cool, by the way.
Everyone thinks it's cool, but when it's your dad, like, On
your earlier work, I thought I could hear hints of Annie and the Indigo Girls.
Oh God, I love Annie.
I was going to say, did you? Okay, that
obvious.
Answers that question.
Yeah, no, that was my idol forever and ever and ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing better when it comes to 90s folk.
Even Todd got to see Annie DeFranco last summer.
How was it? I haven't seen her in a few years.
At the Green River Festival. She was on when you first got there, I think. When you
6 or 7 times, but not recent. The last time I saw her was with Dar Williams in New York City, and I've befriended Dar Williams since, and we all went.
That's another thing I wanted to touch on.
And I was like, Dar's playing with Annie, we have to go. And I was just like hoping so badly she might come into the dressing room, never did.
Oh.
And I would have been like, I love you. And then she would have been like, everyone says that to me, so find something different to tell me. I think she's shorter than me too, which would have been really interesting because I think but she would have been.
But you were at one of her, was it summer camps?
Yeah, I go every summer. This is my first summer not going, actually. I've been going. She's been having it for, I believe it's 8 or 9 years. Don't quote me on that. It's still going. So if you look up Dar Williams Retreat online, they're always happening throughout the year, online and like virtual retreats and in person.
Mm-hmm.
And roughly 30 to 50 songwriters gather at a retreat location and just concentrate on songwriting for a week. And a lot of Modest Quarters was written in retreat. And the new stuff I'm playing acoustically, which I haven't recorded yet, have been written in retreat. And Feel, which was a single I did last summer that sounds like it's straight out of the Beatles. And I did that.
It's not just me.
I did that on purpose because I was trying to prove a point that producers can render things to sound a certain way. And I was working with other songwriters like in a workshop when we were talking about like what producers do. And I was like, I can make this song that we all were like spitballing in a circle sound like the Beatles by the end of the week. And they're like, no, you can't. That's like,
proven.
Okay, no problem, guys. So if you check out Feel, it's going to sound like the Beatles. This next song that you're going to play, Barriers and Fragilities, sounds like Dogs by Pink Floyd. That was the point of it.
All right. And that's going to about wrap up this interview. But
it's going to eat it all the time up. It's well worth it.
Jenn, thank you so much for coming up and chatting with me and playing your music. Your next release will be on July 1st.
Yep.
You can get it on Bandcamp. Look up Ponybird. But this is Jenn Dauphinais, and definitely keep your eye out for when she performs live. I know I am going to be doing that. Thank you for listening, everybody, and stay tuned for the New Music Alliance Radio Hour. And the spotlight is on Blind Moose Recording Studio out of Northampton, Massachusetts. Thank everybody, and stay tuned. We'll be right back after no messages. Barriers and Fragilities. Bye.